Ethan! Open the door!
You left for Rome a wife. You came back a stranger.
The text arrived at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, just as I was debugging code that had been giving me a nightmare all afternoon. The notification chimed on my phone, and I glanced over expecting another client complaint or maybe Paul asking if I wanted to grab beers later. Instead, I saw a photo of my wife Celeste grinning at an airport gate, boarding pass in hand, with a message that made me go cold inside. Flying to Rome with Derek for a week. Just closure. Relax. Derek, her ex-boyfriend from college, the guy she'd been reconnecting with on social media for months, claiming it was a just friendship whenever I brought it up. The same Derek who'd been sending her flowers for old time's sake and texting her at all hours about his international consulting business. I stared at the phone for a full minute, reading the message over and over. My wife of 8 years had just informed me she was flying to Italy with another man. Not asking permission. Not discussing it. Just going. Closure, I muttered to myself in my empty suburban home office. Right, because nothing says closure like a romantic week in Rome with your ex. The boarding pass in the photo showed a first-class seat. Derek's money, no doubt. My wife worked in marketing for a local firm, making decent money, but not spontaneous trip to Rome money. That was all Derek, flashing his wealth like he always had. I set the phone down and leaned back in my desk chair, looking around our perfectly decorated living room through the office doorway. Everything was Celeste's taste. The throw pillows she'd spent 3 hours picking out, the art she'd insisted we buy from that gallery downtown, the coffee table books about interior design that no one ever read. My phone buzzed again. Another text from her. Don't be dramatic, Ethan. It's just a week. We need to talk through some old stuff. You trust me, right? Trust. That was rich. I grabbed my jacket and walked next door to Lisa Hahn's house. Lisa was our neighbor, a sharp-tongued software engineer who worked remotely and seemed to know everything that happened on our street. She was also one of the few people who'd never fallen for Celeste's charm offensive. Lisa answered the door in yoga pants and an oversized sweater, her black hair pulled back in a messy bun. Ethan, you look like someone just told you pizza is illegal. What's wrong? My wife just texted me from the airport. She's flying to Rome with her ex-boyfriend for a week. For closure. Lisa's eyes widened, then narrowed. Are you kidding me right now? I wish I was. I showed her the text and photo. That manipulative little... Lisa caught herself. Sorry, I know she's your wife. Is she, though? I mean, what kind of wife just leaves for a week in Europe with another man? Lisa studied my face for a moment. What are you going to do about it? I have no idea. I'm still processing the fact that it's happening. Well, while you're processing, she's probably sipping champagne at 30,000 feet with Mr. International Consultant. Lisa grabbed her phone from the coffee table. Come here, stand next to me. What are you doing? Helping you send a message. She pulled me close and held up her phone. Smile, Ethan. You're about to become a free man. The selfie came out perfectly. Lisa looking gorgeous as always, me with my arm around her, both of us grinning. She typed quickly. Relax, you're already replaced. Divorce papers being filed tomorrow. Lisa, I can't send that. It's what she deserves. She didn't ask your permission to go to Rome with another man. Why should you ask hers to move on? She had a point, a very good point. Besides, Lisa continued, I'm not actually your replacement. I'm your accomplice. There's a difference. I looked at the message one more time, then hit send before I could lose my nerve. Now, Lisa said, let's call a lawyer. I know a guy. 20 minutes later, I was on the phone with Martin Klein, a divorce attorney Lisa had found through her network. He was expensive, but he was also fast. Abandonment of the marital home, Klein said after I explained the situation. Flying to Europe with another man without spousal consent. Yeah, I can work with this. How long have you been married? 8 years? Any kids? No. Assets? The house is in both our names. Joint bank accounts, her car, my car. Pretty standard stuff. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm filing emergency papers tonight. The fact that she left the country with another man gives us grounds for expedited proceedings. You said you have the text message and photo? Yes. Perfect. Forward those to me immediately. I'll have papers drawn up and filed by morning. She'll be served electronically while she's in Rome. After I hung up, Lisa poured us both wine and we sat on her couch, looking out the window at my house across the street. You know, she said, I never liked her. Really? You hit it well. She's fake. All that sweetness and charm, it's an act. I've seen the way she talks to you when she thinks no one's watching, like you're some kind of servant. I thought about that. It was true. In public, Celeste was the perfect wife. Supportive, loving, always touching my arm or laughing at my jokes. But at home, she criticized everything I did. The way I loaded the dishwasher, my choice of clothes, my friends, my job. She's been planning this for months, I realized out loud. All those late-night texts with Derek, the business trips she's been taking, the new clothes, the gym membership, the sudden interest in learning Italian. Italian? Lisa raised an eyebrow. She said it was for work. Her company was thinking about expanding into European markets. And you believe that? I wanted to believe it. There's a difference. My phone buzzed. A notification that Celeste had seen my message, then another buzz, and another. The call started 5 minutes later. I let them all go to voicemail. Aren't you going to answer? Lisa asked. What's the point? She made her choice. She's on a plane to Rome with another man. Whatever she has to say now, it's too late. The calls kept coming. Every few minutes, my phone would light up with Celeste's name and photo. The picture from our wedding day, where she looked so happy and innocent. Finally, Lisa grabbed the phone and turned it off. Better? She asked. Much. We spent the evening planning. Lisa's house had a perfect view of our front door, so we'd know when Celeste came back. Klein would have the divorce papers filed by morning, which meant she'd be served while still in Rome. The house was in both our names, but I'd been the one making the mortgage payments for the last 3 years, while she spent money on clothes and spa treatments. What about Derek? Lisa asked. What about him? Are you going to do anything about him? I thought about it. Derek Bianchi, with his expensive suits and European accent and trust fund money. The guy who'd never worked a real day in his life, but somehow had enough cash to fly women to Rome on a whim. I'm not going to do anything illegal, I said finally. I didn't say illegal. I said anything. The wine was making me bold. What did you have in mind? Lisa smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. Leave that to me. I have some ideas. By midnight, we had a plan. It wasn't elaborate, but it was effective. Celeste wanted closure with her ex-boyfriend? Fine. She could have all the closure she wanted, but she'd be doing it as a single woman. I went home and packed up all of Celeste's things. Not throwing them away. I wasn't that petty, just boxing them up neatly and stacking them in the garage. Her clothes, her books, her collection of scented candles, her yoga mats, her expensive skincare products. Everything that screamed Celeste lives here went into boxes. Then I changed the locks. It was 2 a.m. when I finished, and I was exhausted but also strangely energized. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like I was taking control of my own life instead of just reacting to whatever Celeste decided to do. I fell asleep on the couch, my phone still turned off, and dreamed about freedom. I woke up to someone knocking on my front door. Sunlight was streaming through the windows, and my neck was stiff from sleeping on the couch. The knocking continued, not urgent, just persistent. Lisa was standing on my porch with coffee and bagels from the place downtown. Breakfast, she announced, walking past me into the kitchen. And an update. What kind of update? Your wife is having a very public meltdown on social media. Look. She handed me her phone. Celeste's Instagram was a disaster. Photo after photo from Rome, the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, expensive restaurants, but the captions were increasingly frantic. Having an amazing time in Rome. Sometimes you need to follow your heart from yesterday evening. Ethan is being so dramatic. It's just a friendly trip. From this morning. Why won't my husband answer his phone? This is ridiculous. From an hour ago. And the most recent one, some people can't handle their wives having male friends, so insecure. She's losing it, I said. It gets better. Check the comments. I scrolled down. Most of our mutual friends and neighbors had seen my selfie with Lisa and were asking pointed questions. Wait, didn't Ethan post that he was filing for divorce? From our neighbor Janet. Girl, you can't just fly to Europe with another man and expect your husband to be cool with it. From Celeste's coworker, Sarah. This is messy as heck. From Paul, my friend who owned the bar downtown. The best comment came from my mother-in-law. Celeste Marie, what in God's name are you doing? She's getting roasted, Lisa said with satisfaction, and it's only going to get worse. My phone, which I'd finally turned back on, rang. Klein, the lawyer. Good news, he said. Papers are filed and she's been served. I sent them to her email and had a process server deliver them to her hotel in Rome. She's officially been notified that you're filing for divorce on grounds of abandonment and adultery. That fast? When someone leaves the country with their lover, judges tend to move quickly, especially when there's photographic evidence posted on social media. After Klein hung up, Lisa and I sat at my kitchen table, eating bagels and watching the show unfold online. Celeste's posts were getting more desperate by the hour, and Derek was nowhere to be seen in the recent photos. Think he's getting tired of the drama? Lisa asked. Derek never could handle conflict. In college, he'd disappear whenever things got complicated. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown Italian number. Ethan, this is Derek. We need to talk. This has gotten out of hand. I showed Lisa. She laughed so hard she nearly choked on her coffee. Oh, this is perfect. He's panicking. Should I respond? Absolutely not. Let him sweat. The day got more interesting around noon. Paul called from his bar. Dude, you need to get down here. Celeste's friends are here, and they're talking crap about you loud enough for the whole place to hear. Which friends? Tasha and Mia. They're telling everyone you're controlling and harmful behavior, and that's why Celeste had to escape to Europe. Lisa grabbed my keys. Road trip. Paul's bar was busy for a Tuesday afternoon. Tasha and Mia were holding court at a corner table surrounded by drinks and an audience of neighborhood gossips. They were in full performance mode. He's always been jealous, Tasha was saying. Celeste told me he goes through her phone, monitors her spending, won't let her have male friends. It's psychological harm, Mia added. She finally found the courage to leave. I walked up to their table. The conversation stopped. Ladies, I said pleasantly, having a nice afternoon. Tasha's face went red. Ethan, we were just talking about my marriage. Yeah, I heard. I pulled out my phone and showed them Celeste's text from yesterday. This is what your friend sent me. She's in Rome with her ex-boyfriend for closure. Just thought you should know what you're defending. The women at the surrounding tables leaned in to get a better look. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered, "Oh my God, that's not what she told us," Mia stammered. I'm sure it isn't. Celeste has always been creative with the truth. I put my phone away. But hey, if you think flying to Europe with another man is a normal thing for married women to do, more power to you. I walked away, leaving them to face a room full of people who'd just realized they'd been defending the indefensible. Lisa was grinning when I got back to our table. That was beautiful. I'm just getting started. That evening, we got more entertainment. Derek had apparently reached his limit with Celeste's public meltdown and left her at the hotel to go handle business. She was now posting photos of herself, crying in their hotel room with captions like, "When you realize who your real friends are, and some people can't handle strong women." The comments were brutal. Maybe don't abandon your husband for another man if you want sympathy. From our neighbor Janet, "Girl, you made your bed, literally, in Rome." With your ex, from Celeste's own cousin. "This is embarrassing to watch," from her former boss at the marketing firm. But the real bombshell came at 9 p.m. Derek posted his own Instagram story from what looked like a fancy Roman restaurant with a completely different woman. A blonde in an expensive dress who was definitely not my wife. "When in Rome," was his caption. Lisa screenshotted it immediately. "Oh, this is too good. He ditched her." My phone started ringing. Celeste, calling from Italy. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to the message on speaker so Lisa could hear. "Ethan, please pick up. I know you're angry, but this isn't what it looks like. Derek and I are just friends. We're just talking through old issues, and I don't understand why you're being so dramatic about this. I'm coming home tomorrow, and we can work this out. Just please don't do anything crazy while I'm gone. I love you." Lisa and I looked at each other. She has no idea about the divorce papers, I realized, or the locks being changed, or her stuff being packed up. This is going to be quite a homecoming. We spent the evening preparing. Lisa officially moved some of her things into my guest room. Her laptop, some clothes, toiletries. To anyone watching, it would look like she was living here now. "Are you sure about this?" I asked as she hung up clothes in the guest closet. "This is going to get messy." "Ethan, your wife is in Rome with another man, posting about it on social media and calling you dramatic for not being okay with it. Messy already happened. We're just evening the score." She was right. Celeste had made her choice when she got on that plane. Everything that happened next was just consequences. I changed my relationship status on Facebook to It's Complicated and posted the selfie Lisa and I had taken yesterday with the caption, "Sometimes change happens fast." Thanks to everyone who's been supportive during this difficult time. The likes and supportive comments started pouring in immediately. Celeste's flight landed at 6 a.m. She'd be home by 8. We were ready. I was drinking coffee in my kitchen at 7:45 a.m. when Lisa texted from her house across the street. "Black sedan just pulled up. Showtime?" Through the window, I watched Celeste climb out of an Uber, dragging her suitcase behind her. She looked exhausted and disheveled. Her hair was a mess, her expensive travel outfit was wrinkled, and she had the hollow-eyed look of someone who'd spent a long flight crying. She walked up to the front door and tried her key. Nothing. She tried again, jiggling the handle and pushing on the door. Still nothing. I watched her dig through her purse for her phone, probably to call me. Then I watched her remember that I hadn't answered any of her calls for the past 2 days. She walked around to the back door and tried that key too. Also nothing. Finally, she started pounding on the front door. "Ethan! Ethan, I know you're in there! Open the door!" I finished my coffee, took a shower, got dressed, and checked my email. Client had sent me copies of all the divorce paperwork, officially filed and served. Celeste was now legally notified that I was ending our marriage. The pounding continued. "Ethan, this is ridiculous! Open the door right now!" Around 9 a.m., Lisa knocked on my back door. I let her in through the kitchen. "She's been out there for over an hour," Lisa said. "The whole neighborhood is watching." "Good, let them watch." "Are you going to talk to her?" "Eventually, but not yet. She wanted to go to Rome for a week without discussing it with me. She can stand on the porch for an hour without discussing it with me." Lisa grinned. "You're getting ruthless. I like it." At 9:30, Celeste finally tried calling Lisa. I watched through the window. She paced the front yard with her phone pressed to her ear. Lisa answered on the third ring, putting it on speaker so I could hear. "Hello, Celeste." "Lisa, thank God. Is Ethan there? He changed the locks and won't answer his phone, and I don't know what's going on." "He's here. Can you please tell him to stop being childish and let me in? This is my house, too." "Actually," Lisa said calmly, "I don't think it is anymore. Didn't you get served with divorce papers yesterday?" Silence. "What divorce papers?" "The ones that were delivered to your hotel in Rome and emailed to you. Abandonment and adultery, I believe." More silence. That's not real. Ethan wouldn't file for divorce without talking to me first." "You mean like how you wouldn't fly to Europe with another man without talking to him first?" I could hear Celeste starting to cry. "Lisa, please, I just need to talk to him. This is all a misunderstanding." "Hold on." Lisa muted the phone and looked at me. "What do you want me to tell her? Tell her I'll be right out?" I walked through the house and opened the front door. Celeste was standing on the porch, phone still pressed to her ear, mascara streaked down her cheeks. She looked small and lost, and nothing like the confident woman who'd sent me that selfie from the airport 3 days ago. "Ethan!" She hung up on Lisa and rushed toward me. "Thank God. I don't know what's happening. The locks are changed, and Lisa said something about divorce papers, and..." "You got served yesterday at your hotel. Didn't you check your email?" No. I was dealing with Derek acting terribly, and I wasn't checking email, and Derek was acting terribly. Shocking." She stopped trying to hug me and stepped back. "Don't be sarcastic. This isn't funny." "You're right. It's not funny. It's pathetic." "Ethan, please, can we go inside and talk about this like adults?" "No." "What do you mean, no?" "I mean, you don't live here anymore. You abandoned this house to go to Rome with your ex-boyfriend. The divorce papers are real. The locks are changed. Your stuff is packed up in the garage." She stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "You can't be serious." "Dead serious? But I came back. I'm here now, after 3 days in Europe with another man. After posting it all over social media. After telling me to relax about my wife running off with her ex." "It wasn't like that." "What was it like, Celeste? Enlighten me." She opened her mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. We were just talking, working through old feelings. I needed closure. And did you get it?" "What?" "Closure. Did you get what you went there for?" Her face crumpled. "He left me at the hotel. He said I was too dramatic, and he didn't sign up for this level of chaos. He went out with some Italian woman and left me alone." "So you didn't get closure. You got abandoned in Rome by the guy you abandoned your marriage for." "I didn't abandon our marriage. You flew to Europe with another man without telling me until you were at the airport. What would you call that? She was crying harder now. I would call it a mistake, a stupid, terrible mistake. But people make mistakes, Ethan. That's what marriage is for, working through the mistakes together. Some mistakes are too big to work through. Says who? Says the judge who approved the divorce filing. Lisa appeared beside me on the porch. She was carrying a cup of coffee and wearing one of my old college sweatshirts. Everything okay out here? She asked sweetly. Celeste's eyes went wide. Why are you wearing his clothes? Oh, this old thing? Ethan let me borrow it. I'm staying in the guest room while my place is being renovated. You're living here? Temporarily? Celeste looked back and forth between us. Are you two? Are we what? I asked. Together. We're friends, good friends, the kind of friends who don't run off to Europe with other people. This is insane. I go away for 3 days and you move another woman into our house? It's not our house anymore, Lisa said. It's his house. You moved out when you moved to Rome. I didn't move to Rome. It was a trip. A trip with your ex-boyfriend. To the most romantic city in the world. For a week. Celeste turned back to me, desperate. Ethan, please. I know you're hurt, but this is crazy. You can't divorce me over one stupid trip. Watch me. But I love you. You have a funny way of showing it. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. People make mistakes, I agreed, but they don't usually post about them on Instagram while they're making them. Her face went pale. You saw the posts. Everyone saw the posts. The whole neighborhood saw them. Your friends, your family, my family, your coworkers. You made our marriage problems into a public spectacle. I was trying to show that I was okay, that I was moving forward. Well, congratulations, you moved forward right out of your marriage. She sat down on the porch steps and put her head in her hands. This can't be happening. It's happening. What am I supposed to do now? Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. How can you be so cold? 8 years of marriage, and you're just throwing it away. I'm not throwing anything away. You already threw it away when you got on that plane. Lisa squeezed my shoulder. I'm going to make more coffee. This might take a while. After she went inside, Celeste and I stood looking at each other across the porch. She looked broken and desperate. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no regret. Just a strange sense of relief. The woman I married wouldn't have done what you did, I said finally. I'm still the same person. No, you're not. The same person wouldn't have humiliated me publicly. The same person wouldn't have chosen another man over her husband. The same person wouldn't have called me dramatic for being upset about it. I was scared. I was confused. Derek was offering me this fantasy of what my life could have been, and I got caught up in it. And now you know what your life actually is. You're a woman who abandoned her husband for a fantasy that turned out to be a lie. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Your stuff is in the garage, I said. You can take it any time. Just call first. Ethan, wait. I went inside and closed the door. Through the window, I watched her sit on the porch steps for another 20 minutes, crying and making phone calls. Finally, she called another Uber and left. How do you feel? Lisa asked, handing me fresh coffee. Free, and for the first time in years, I actually meant it. The next few days were a blur of phone calls, legal paperwork, and social media drama. Celeste had apparently found a place to stay, some extended stay hotel near the mall, and was launching a full-scale media campaign to win back public sympathy. Her strategy was simple. Paint me as a controlling husband who'd overreacted to an innocent trip with a friend. It wasn't working. Look at this, Lisa said, showing me her phone over breakfast. We'd fallen into a comfortable routine. She'd make coffee, I'd make eggs, and we'd catch up on the latest developments in what Paul had started calling the Celeste Show. Celeste had posted a long Facebook rant about how I'd locked her out of her own home and moved another woman in before the bed was even cold. She was positioning herself as the victim of a cruel and vindictive husband. The comments were not sympathetic. Girl, you went to Rome with another man. What did you expect from her former coworker? Maybe don't post about your romantic getaway if you want people to think it was innocent. From our neighbor Janet. This is what happens when you play stupid games. From my brother Mike. But the comment that made me laugh out loud came from Celeste's own mother. Honey, you made your bed. In Italy. With Derek. Now lie in it. Even her mom is done with her, Lisa said. That's rough. My phone rang. Klein, the lawyer. Good news and bad news, he said. Good news, the divorce is moving fast. She's not contesting the abandonment claim because she can't. There's too much evidence. Bad news, she's hired her own lawyer and they're going to fight for half of everything. Can they do that? They can try, but her case is weak. She left the marital home to be with another man. That's going to hurt her in asset division. After I hung up, Lisa had a suggestion. Paul's having a trivia night at the bar tomorrow. We should go. I don't really feel like being around people right now. That's exactly why you should go. Hiding at home makes you look guilty. Going out and living your life makes you look like the wronged party who's moving on with dignity. She had a point. The next evening, Paul's bar was packed. Trivia night was popular in our neighborhood, and it seemed like half the people there knew about my situation. I got a lot of sympathetic looks and supportive comments. Ethan, how are you holding up, buddy? From Tom, who lived 2 streets over. Heard about your wife's European vacation? That's rough, man. From Steve, one of Paul's regulars. You're better off without her. From Jennifer, a woman I barely knew but who apparently had strong opinions about my marriage. Lisa and I found a table near the back and ordered drinks. The trivia questions were about movies, which I was terrible at. But Lisa was surprisingly good at pop culture. We were having fun, when Celeste walked in. She'd clearly dressed for battle, hair perfectly styled and makeup flawless, wearing a dress that was just a little too tight and a little too short for a neighborhood bar. She was with Tasha and Mia, her remaining loyal friends, and they made a beeline for the bar. The conversation in the room didn't exactly stop, but it definitely shifted. People were trying not to stare while absolutely staring. This should be interesting, Lisa murmured. Paul, behind the bar, looked like he wanted to crawl under it. He served them drinks but didn't engage in his usual friendly banter. For the first few rounds of trivia, Celeste and her friends stayed at the bar, talking loudly enough for everyone to hear about how some people couldn't handle their wives having male friends and how insecurity was such an unattractive trait in men. I ignored them and focused on the game. Lisa and I were actually doing pretty well. We'd moved up to 3rd place. But during the break between rounds, Celeste made her move. She walked over to our table, drink in hand, with that fake smile she used when she was about to say something cutting. Ethan, she said loudly enough for the surrounding tables to hear him. How nice to see you out and about. And Lisa, of course. You two seem very comfortable together. We're fine, thanks, I said calmly. I bet you are. It's amazing how quickly some people move on from 8 years of marriage. It's amazing how quickly some people fly to Europe with their ex-boyfriends, Lisa replied sweetly. Celeste's smile faltered for just a second. That was a private matter between Ethan and me. Was it private when you posted about it on Instagram? Asked Jennifer from the next table over. Because I saw those pictures of you and Derek at the Trevi Fountain. Very romantic for a private matter. A few people laughed. Celeste's face went red. You don't know what you're talking about, she snapped. I know what I saw, Jennifer replied, and what I saw was a married woman on a romantic vacation with a man who wasn't her husband. It wasn't romantic. Then why did you caption the restaurant photo, "Perfect evening with my favorite person"? This came from Tom, who was apparently keeping track of Celeste's social media activity. That was just stupid, suggested Steve, because it was definitely stupid. The bar had gone quiet now. Everyone was watching the confrontation unfold. Celeste looked around the room, realizing that she didn't have a single ally present besides Tasha and Mia. You people don't understand, she said desperately. Marriage is complicated. Sometimes you need space to figure things out. Space, sure, said Paul from behind the bar. But most people don't figure things out in Rome with their ex-boyfriend. Derek and I are just friends. Friends who share hotel rooms? This came from someone I didn't recognize, but who apparently knew more about Celeste's trip than I did. How do you know we shared a hotel room? Because you posted a photo from the hotel bed with the caption, "Room service breakfast is the best," and Derek was tagged in the location. Celeste looked like she was going to be sick. That doesn't mean anything. It means you're a cheater, said Jennifer bluntly, and now you're trying to make your husband look like the bad guy for not putting up with it. I am not a cheater. Then what do you call flying to Europe with another man while you're married? Asked Tom. I call it trying to get closure on an important relationship from my past. The bar erupted in laughter. Closure, Paul repeated. That's a good one. You want closure? Steve called out. Your husband filed for divorce. There's your closure. Celeste looked around the room at all the laughing, unsympathetic faces, then looked at me. Ethan, please, tell them it's not like that. I stood up slowly. The room went quiet again. You're right, Celeste. It's not like that. Relief flooded her face. It's worse than that. Because you didn't just cheat on me. You humiliated me. You made our marriage problems into entertainment for social media. You called me dramatic for being upset that my wife ran off with another man. And now you're here trying to make everyone think I'm the villain in this story. I looked around the room. Every eye was on me. 3 days ago, I got a text from my wife telling me she was flying to Rome with her ex-boyfriend. Not asking, telling. She said I should relax about it. Well, I relaxed. I relaxed right into a lawyer's office and filed for divorce. Scattered applause broke out around the room. And you know what the best part is? I continued. Derek dumped her in Rome, left her alone in the hotel, while he went out with another woman. So she didn't even get the closure she was looking for. She just got abandoned twice. Once by her boyfriend and once by her husband. The applause got louder. Celeste was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. You're all horrible people, she said through her tears. You don't know what really happened. We know enough, said Jennifer. Celeste looked at me one more time. I hope you're happy. I'm getting there. She turned and walked out, Tasha and Mia trailing behind her like confused ducklings. The bar stayed quiet for about 10 seconds, then erupted in conversation and laughter. Wow, Ethan, Paul said, bringing me a fresh beer. That was brutal. She started it. Yeah, but you finished it. Lisa squeezed my hand under the table. How do you feel? Like I just took out 8 years of frustration in 5 minutes. Good. She deserved it. The trivia game resumed, but nobody was really paying attention to the questions anymore. Everyone wanted to talk about what had just happened, and the consensus was clear. Celeste had gotten exactly what she deserved. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Derek. Your wife is having a breakdown at her hotel. This has gone too far. I showed the message to Lisa. Are you going to respond? She asked. Absolutely. I typed back, she's not my wife anymore. And if you're so concerned about her, maybe you shouldn't have abandoned her in Rome. His response came immediately. We need to talk. This affects me too. Then you shouldn't have gotten involved with a married woman. I'm coming to see you tomorrow. I showed that message to Lisa. Oh, this should be fun. She said, what are you going to do? I have no idea, but I'm sure I'll think of something. Derek showed up at my house the next morning, driving a black BMW that probably cost more than I made in a year. He was dressed like he was heading to a board meeting, expensive suit, Italian shoes, gold watch that caught the sunlight as he walked up my driveway. I watched him through the kitchen window as I finished my coffee. Lisa had gone back to her place to shower and change, but she'd left her laptop and some clothes scattered around to maintain the impression that she was living here. Derek knocked on the door like he owned the place, confident, demanding. I let him knock for a full minute before answering. Derek, I said pleasantly, what a surprise. He looked exactly the same as he had in college, just with more expensive clothes and a better haircut. Still had that smug expression that made you want to punch him. We need to talk, he said. Do we? This situation with Celeste has gotten out of hand. Has it? Can I come in? No. He blinked, clearly not used to being told no. Excuse me. You heard me. You're not coming in my house. Ethan, be reasonable. We're both adults here. Adults don't sleep with other men's wives. It wasn't like that. What was it like, Derek? Enlighten me. He ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair. Look, Celeste reached out to me a few months ago. She was unhappy in her marriage, feeling trapped, looking for someone to talk to about her feelings. And you thought the best way to help her with her marriage problems was to take her to Rome? She needed perspective, distance from the situation. Distance from her husband, you mean? Distance from a relationship that wasn't working. I laughed. According to who? You? The guy who wanted to sleep with her? It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. You saw an opportunity to get back with your college girlfriend, and you took it. You didn't care that she was married. Her marriage was already over. She told me you two barely talked anymore, that you'd grown apart, that she was miserable. And you believed her? Why wouldn't I? Because she was lying to you the same way she was lying to me. Celeste tells people what they want to hear. It's what she does. Derek shifted uncomfortably. Look, maybe I made some mistakes. Some mistakes? You flew a married woman to Europe and slept with her. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. We didn't sleep together. I stared at him. Are you serious right now? We shared a hotel room, but it wasn't physical. You expect me to believe that? It's the truth. She was too emotional, too conflicted. She spent most of the trip crying about you. Then why didn't she come home? Because she was scared. She knew she'd made a huge mistake, but she didn't know how to fix it. So she decided to make it worse by staying in Rome with you? She was trying to figure out what she really wanted. And what did she figure out? Derek looked away. That she wanted to go home to you. Too bad, I don't want her back. Ethan, she loves you. She made a stupid mistake, but she loves you. She loves the idea of me, the security, the stability, the house, the life we built together. But she doesn't love me enough to not run off with other men when things get boring. People make mistakes. Stop saying that. This wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidental. She planned this trip for weeks. She bought plane tickets, booked hotels, packed her bags, and got in a car to the airport. At any point, she could have stopped and thought, maybe flying to Europe with my ex-boyfriend is a bad idea. But she didn't. She chose you over me. Derek was quiet for a moment. So what now? Now you leave me alone, both of you. She's staying at some terrible hotel. She's broke, she's depressed, she's barely eating. Not my problem. How can you be so cold? Practice. She's your wife. She's my ex-wife. The divorce papers are filed. You can't just throw away 8 years of marriage over one mistake. Watch me. Derek stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. I don't understand you. I don't expect you to. You've never been married. You've never had someone you love and trust completely betray you in the most public, humiliating way possible. She didn't mean to hurt you. She posted photos of your romantic dinner on Instagram, Derek. She tagged you in location updates from your hotel. She called me dramatic for being upset about it. If she didn't mean to hurt me, she did a pretty good impression of someone who did. She was just trying to show that she was okay. She was trying to make me jealous. And when that didn't work, she was trying to justify her behavior by making me look like a controlling husband. Derek ran his hand through his hair again. Look, I'm sorry this got so messy. I never intended for things to go this far. What did you intend? I thought maybe she'd realize she was unhappy and make a clean break. Start fresh with someone who understood her. You mean you? Maybe. So you did want to break up my marriage. I wanted her to be happy. With you. Yes, with me. I think we could have been good together. Could have been? His face went red. She's more complicated than I remembered. Complicated how? Needy, dramatic. Everything had to be about her feelings, her problems, her marriage, her husband. I couldn't even enjoy Rome because she was constantly crying or calling you or posting things online to try to get your attention. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. So you dumped her. I didn't dump her. I just needed some space. She was suffocating me. And you left her alone in a foreign country. She's an adult. She could take care of herself. Classy. Look, I'm trying to make this right. I'll pay for her flight home, help her get back on her feet. Don't bother, she's already home. I mean really home. Back with you. That's never happening. Never? Never. Derek looked around the neighborhood, taking in the suburban houses and manicured lawns. This is really what you want? This boring, predictable life? This is my life, and it's a heck of a lot better than whatever game you and Celeste were playing. We weren't playing a game, weren't you? The secret texts, the social media posts, the dramatic exit to Europe. That's not love, Derek. That's performance art. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You wanted to be the hero who rescued the unhappy housewife from her boring husband. She wanted to be the sophisticated woman who was too good for suburban life. You both got caught up in your own fantasy and forgot that real people get hurt when you treat life like a romantic comedy. Derek was quiet for a long moment. So what happens now? Now you go back to whatever European city you came from and forget this ever happened. And Celeste? Celeste learns to live with the consequences of her choices. She's going to need help. Then help her. You broke her marriage. You deal with the aftermath. I can't. I'm leaving tomorrow. Of course you are. Derek started walking back to his car, then turned around. For what it's worth, I am sorry. I never meant for things to get this ugly. But they did get ugly, and now everyone has to live with it. He drove away without another word. I went inside and called Lisa. How did it go? She asked. He apologized and offered to pay for Celeste's flight home. How generous of him, considering he's the one who took her there in the first place. He also admitted they didn't sleep together. Do you believe him? I thought about it. Yeah, actually, Celeste was probably too busy having an emotional breakdown to be romantic. Derek doesn't strike me as the type who enjoys messy feelings. So he got tired of her drama and bailed. Pretty much. Serves them both right. That evening, I got a call from Klein. Celeste's lawyer wants to meet, he said. They're ready to negotiate. What's their position? She wants half of everything in alimony. Based on what? 8 years of marriage, and her claim that she sacrificed her career to support yours. I laughed. She works in marketing. I'm a tech consultant. We make about the same amount of money. I know. Her case is weak, and her lawyer knows it. That's why they want to negotiate instead of going to trial. What do you think we should do? Lowball them. She's in a weak position and getting weaker every day. The longer this drags out, the more public sympathy turns against her. How long do we have? As long as we want. She's the one who's desperate to settle. She's living in a hotel, she's broke, and her reputation is shot. Time is on our side. After I hung up, I realized I felt something I hadn't felt in months: control. For the first time since Celeste sent me that text from the airport, I was the one making decisions about my own life. It felt good. 2 weeks later, Paul called with an invitation. I'm throwing a block party Saturday night, he said. Live music, barbecue, the whole neighborhood. You should come. I don't know, Paul. Things are still pretty messy with the divorce. That's exactly why you should come. Show everyone you're doing fine. Besides, Lisa's already said she'll be there. Lisa and I had grown closer over the past few weeks. She was still temporarily staying in my guest room, though her house renovation seemed to be taking longer than expected. We'd fallen into an easy routine, cooking dinner together, watching movies, talking about everything except my failed marriage. Is this your way of trying to set us up? I asked Paul. Maybe. Would that be so terrible? I'm not divorced yet, but you will be. And when you are, you could do a lot worse than Lisa. He had a point. Saturday evening, the block party was in full swing. Paul had set up a stage in the parking lot behind his bar, and a local band was playing classic rock covers. The whole neighborhood had turned out. Families with kids, couples, singles, even some of the elderly residents who usually kept to themselves. Lisa and I arrived together, which didn't go unnoticed. We got a lot of knowing looks and whispered comments, but they were friendly. The neighborhood had clearly chosen sides in my divorce, and they'd chosen mine. Ethan! Janet waved us over to her table. How are you holding up? Better every day. Good for you. That woman put you through heck. It's over now. Is it, though? I heard she's still trying to get half your house. Her lawyer's trying. It's not going to work. Well, you've got our support, said Tom, joining the conversation. What she did was inexcusable. Lisa squeezed my hand under the table. Thanks, everyone. It means a lot to have friends like you. The band was good, the food was great, and for the first time in weeks, I was actually relaxing and having fun. Lisa and I danced to a few songs, shared a plate of barbecue, and talked with neighbors who treated us like a couple, even though we weren't officially anything yet. Around 9 p.m., just as the sun was setting, a familiar black BMW pulled into the parking lot. Derek. What the heck is he doing here? Lisa muttered. Derek got out of the car and walked toward the party like he belonged there. He was dressed more casually than the last time I'd seen him. Jeans and a button-down shirt, but he still looked out of place among the suburban families and neighborhood regulars. The conversations around us started to die down as people noticed him. Is that the guy? I heard someone whisper. The one who took Celeste to Rome? Someone else replied. Derek walked straight up to our table. Ethan, he said, we need to talk. No, we don't. It's about Celeste. I don't care about Celeste. She's in the hospital. That got my attention. What? She took some pills last night. Her friend found her this morning. Lisa grabbed my arm. Oh my God. Is she okay? I asked, despite myself. She will be. But she's asking for you. I'm not going to see her. Ethan, she almost died. That's not my fault, isn't it? The question hung in the air. People at the surrounding tables were openly staring now, trying to hear our conversation. You want to do this here? I asked quietly. I want to do this wherever you'll listen. I stood up. Fine, let's talk. We walked away from the crowd toward the edge of the parking lot where the music wasn't so loud. She's devastated, Derek said. She's lost everything. Her marriage, her home, her friends, her job. Her job? They fired her yesterday. said her personal problems were affecting the workplace. I felt a brief stab of sympathy, then pushed it away. That's what happens when you make your personal problems public. She made a mistake. Stop calling it a mistake. It was a choice, a series of choices. And now she's living with the consequences. She could have died, but she didn't. How can you be so callous? You loved her once. I did love her. That's why this hurts so much. Then help her. Help her what? Get back on her feet so she can do this to someone else? Derek ran his hand through his hair, a gesture I was getting tired of seeing. Look, I know I screwed up. I should never have gotten involved. But she's a human being, and she's suffering. She's suffering because she chose to blow up her life for a fantasy. That's not my responsibility. You're her husband. I'm her ex-husband. The divorce is final next week. You could stop it. I could, but I won't. Derek looked back toward the party, where people were still watching us. This whole neighborhood thinks she's a monster. She made herself look like a monster. I didn't have to do anything. You could have defended her. Defended her from what? The truth? From the humiliation. She humiliated herself when she posted those photos from Rome. She humiliated herself when she called me dramatic for being upset. She humiliated herself when she tried to make me look like the bad guy for not wanting to share my wife with her ex-boyfriend. She was confused. She was selfish. There's a difference. Derek was quiet for a moment. So that's it? You're just going to let her destroy herself? I'm going to let her live with her choices, just like I'm living with mine. And what choice is that? The choice to have some self-respect. Derek looked back at the party one more time, then at me. I hope you're happy. I'm getting there. He walked back to his car without another word. I returned to the table where Lisa was waiting with concerned eyes. How bad is it? She asked quietly. She'll be okay. Physically and emotionally. That's not my problem anymore. Lisa studied my face. Do you mean that? I thought about it. Did I mean it? A year ago, if someone had told me Celeste was in the hospital, I would have dropped everything to be by her side. But that was before Rome, before Derek, before the lies and the manipulation and the public humiliation. Yeah, I said finally. I mean it. The band started playing again, and gradually the conversations around us returned to normal topics. But I could feel people watching me, wondering if I was going to rush to the hospital to comfort my ex-wife. I wasn't. Instead, I asked Lisa to dance. We moved to the makeshift dance floor in front of the stage, and she put her arms around my neck as the band played a slow song I didn't recognize. She felt good in my arms. Solid, real, present. Not like someone who was planning her escape to Europe with another man. Are you okay? She asked. I think I am. No regrets? About what? Any of it. The divorce, the public confrontation, not going to see her. I thought about it as we swayed to the music. No regrets. Good. What about you? Any regrets about getting involved in this mess? She smiled. Only that it took 8 years for you to figure out you deserved better. Better than what? Better than someone who would abandon you for a fantasy. Is that what you think she did? I think she got bored with real life and decided to chase a fairy tale. And when the fairy tale turned out to be a nightmare, she expected you to clean up the mess. And I didn't. And you didn't. The song ended, but we kept dancing through the next one. People were still watching us, but now they were smiling. The neighborhood had accepted us as a couple, even if we hadn't officially accepted it ourselves. Around 11 p.m., as the party was winding down, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Thank you for not coming to the hospital. It would have given her false hope. She needs to learn to live without you. Derek. I showed the message to Lisa. Wow, she said, that's surprisingly mature of him. Maybe he's finally growing up. Or maybe he's finally realizing what he's gotten himself into. Either way, it's not my problem. We helped Paul clean up after the party, then walked home together through the quiet suburban streets. The night air was cool and clear, and for the first time in months, I felt genuinely peaceful. So what happens now? Lisa asked as we reached my front door. Now we go inside and pretend we're not falling for each other. She laughed. How's that working out for us? Terribly. Good. I was worried it was just me. I unlocked the front door and we went inside together. The house felt different now, lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted that I hadn't even realized was there. Ethan? Lisa said as we stood in the living room. Yeah, I'm glad she went to Rome. Why? Because if she hadn't, you never would have realized you deserve better. and I never would have gotten the chance to show you what better looks like. She kissed me then, soft and sweet and full of promise. And for the first time since this whole mess started, I wasn't thinking about Celeste or Derek or divorce papers or public humiliation. I was thinking about the future. The next morning, I got a call from Klein. Celeste's lawyer called, he said. She's dropping all her demands. She'll sign whatever we put in front of her. What changed? I think she finally realized she doesn't have any leverage. Her reputation is shot. She has no money, no job, no friends. She just wants this to be over. So it's over? It's over. You're a free man, Ethan. After I hung up, I found Lisa in the kitchen making coffee. Good news? She asked. The best. It's over. How do you feel? Like I just woke up from a very long nightmare. And now? Now I get to start living again. She handed me a cup of coffee and smiled. I like the sound of that. 3 days later, the divorce papers were signed and filed. Celeste got her car, her personal belongings, and nothing else. No house, no alimony, no ongoing connection to my life. I never saw her again. Derek left town the same week, apparently having learned his lesson about getting involved with other men's wives. Lisa's house renovation was mysteriously completed the day after my divorce was finalized. But somehow she never moved back out of my guest room. 6 months later, I proposed to her in the same spot where Celeste had once stood crying on my front porch. She said yes.